And I thought, well, it was about 1 minute after 10, so I dialed in as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you may see me, I don't know, before it loaded the PIN number, was already in on the call.
Oh,
so.
Okay, great. I don't think I'm going to mute the line since there's so few of us right now. You know, so we definitely would like to have a discussion. So I don't think we're going to step on each other too much. But there is a chat feature if you want to, you know, in the middle of something, kind of remember a thought and push it out to the chat. We can make sure that we'll do it. I am recording today's session. It will be both audio and video. So I guess we can get started here. And we're going to get to know the Boyer model.
Okay.
Okay.
So I say that it's you know, people in the School of Business. So you want us to do what?
Yeah. Well, I think I'm reading, I was telling the group, I'm reading a book about writing, and one of the analogies that the author uses, she really espouses, and I think this gets back to Boyer, is really trying to look at cross-disciplinary ideas rather than staying so focused in your own, you know, line of research. And she gives the example of a doctors who, in the operating room, they had the people, you know, at the races, the pit crew, come in and watch them perform in the operating room. And they learned so much from the pit crew because, you know, those people are the model of efficiency, and they adopted some of the ideas. So there's always something that we can learn, I feel, from, you know, each other, and just because maybe, you know, somebody is in humanities and I'm in management and business, there's definitely a lot that we can learn from each other. So the other thing we wanted to do with our workshop today is introduce you to some opportunities and resources at the university. So with this, Cindy sent along a Boyer model personal assessment. And it was just, and thank you, Cindy, because I thought you were so creative in the way you developed this.
Well, you sure were.
She's just incredible. And I'm so lucky she's my colleague. But to kind of, as a gauge, as to spark some ideas and to see where your understanding is of Boyer, and hopefully to get you more interested in it. And today we're going to also look at some grant and honorarium opportunities. And last but not least, we're going to arm twist, no, that's the wrong word, encourage you to participate in the second annual Mid-Atlantic Scholarship Symposium in Reston. And I think, you know, if you had not perhaps the best experience the first time and your proposal wasn't accepted or whatever, please feel free to try again, because, you know, I think there'll be a wider, it's my understanding from, and maybe Liz can add to this, really trying to embrace what everybody is doing and maybe give more opportunities. Am I speaking out of school for that, Liz?
No, most definitely. And part of the concept that we're trying to deliver is the fact that the university is very much engaged in this effort. There are, the School of Business, I know, now has it appearing in some of the content area requests. We're seeing it in, you know, somewhat in the College of Criminal Justice and Security, from the standpoint of the dean is pushing scholarship from you might say an outward perspective, but we also up here have two folks who have $5,000 grants.
Wow.
From the College of Criminal Justice. So it is doable, but I think for right now what we're trying to do is to get people to you know, get an interest, get engaged, and try to remove some of the fear, if you will, okay, of what the university really means when they say scholarship.
Exactly. And we are planning in Richmond, hopefully a a showcase at when we move into the new campus. We want to have a highlight and have an opportunity for the faculty to display posters, and really we're also coming up, I think it's Faculty Appreciation Month or Day or something like that. But in any event, be able to really recognize and celebrate people who are out there doing some really great things. So I think, Cindy, you want to get us started on the actual program?
Sure. I think it's important also to recognize that there's a lot of scholarship going on that a lot of folks may not even recognize it as scholarship, and that's where the beauty of the Boyer model comes in. In 1991, Ernest Boyer introduced his academic model advocating expansion of the traditional definition of scholarship and research. According to Boyer, traditional research, or the scholarship of discovery, had been the center of academic life, and in such was crucial to an academic institution's advancement. So in other words, if they didn't research, they weren't really a university. It was that critical and important. But Boyer believed that those types of activities needed to be broadened and made more flexible to include not only the old thinking of research, but also the new social and environmental challenges beyond the campus, but also the reality of contemporary life. He saw a real shift in research, and he felt like he needed to expand the definition of scholarship. Here at the University of Phoenix, we have practitioner faculty, and we focus on curriculum relevance and how it applies to our students in their lives. And as such, Boyer's model serves us quite well because it goes right along the same type of thinking. I think you'll agree that the Boyer model works quite well at the University of Phoenix after you see his model in this workshop. Boyer's vision was to change the research mission of universities by redefining scholarship. After much consideration and research, he proposed 4 distinct domains. Here are the domains on the slide: discovery, integration, application, and teaching. In this presentation today, we're going to talk about each one and give some examples. And I think you're going to find that as we move through the presentation, you're going to say, oh, I did that, or, oh, that fits what I'm working on right now. And I think that you're going to see how all of the domains actually work together to be one integrated whole. So Debbie, tell us about that first domain, discovery.
Okay. The domain of discovery is most closely aligned with what we think of as traditional research. Discovery refers to original research that advances knowledge. And you may ask yourself, is it possible to conduct discovery research at the University of Phoenix? And I would say absolutely yes. And I think, the fact that we have, Liz talked about people getting $5,000 grants, definitely. Some examples of discovery research include publishing peer-reviewed journal articles, scholarly monographs, juried art exhibitions, and research studies. If you've published in this way and contributed to advancing knowledge, then you have participated in Boyer's domain of discovery.
That's right, Debbie. The second domain is called integration. We talked about discovery. Now we're going to talk about integration. Integration refers to making connections across disciplines and giving meaning to isolated facts by putting them into perspective. Integration is closely related to the domain of discovery because it refers to doing research, but it's at the boundaries of where fields converge. The difference between discovery and integration can be distilled into 2 questions. Discovery means, what can I find? And integration means, what does this mean? The best examples of this domain include multidisciplinary work, creating an annotated bibliography, performing a literature meta-analysis, or interpreting scholarly work for the wider public. We talked just a minute ago about stylish academic writing, and how Helen Sword talked about how that's where we need to focus our research, is using the integration across fields. The key here for integration is to synthesize information to bring new insights into original research.
I think the domain of application is perhaps my favorite, because this refers to scholarly activities in which learning is applied to society's problems. Essentially, it means doing activities in which knowledge contributes to solving human needs in a world in which huge problems call for skills and insights that only academia can provide. And I know that we have so many creative people out there that are doing things with respect to the community. Service activities can be considered scholarship if they are tied directly to one's special field of knowledge and relate to and flow directly out of this professional activity. And that's a quote from Boyer. But it is more than just doing good. Application activities include developing applied software, shaping public policy, providing consulting services, obtaining patents, collaborating in learning community group projects, and assuming leadership roles in professional organizations. Application can and does make a difference in our community.
You know, Deb, my favorite domain is teaching, and probably that might be the one that hits closest to home with everybody on the call. Boyer believed teaching was a central element in scholarship. Teaching refers to improving teaching models and practices to achieve optimal learning. Here at the University of Phoenix, we value the realistic experience and knowledge our practitioner faculty bring to the classroom. Teaching is not only transmitting knowledge, but transforming and extending it as well. Aristotle said, teaching is the highest form of understanding. Instructors who develop new techniques to engage learners and extend their critical thinking skills are using Boyer's domain of teaching. Other examples include writing professionally published textbooks, developing curriculum, mentoring graduate students through their dissertations, and publishing articles on pedagogy. I happen to know some individuals at our campus, and probably, Liz, you know some folks at the campus in Reston who have been engaging in the domain of teaching.
Yeah, they have, and as a matter of fact, we have some people who are planning on submitting a proposal, and it is centered around teaching and classroom assessments, which is also another area that the university is having a tremendous amount of focus and will going forward. So teaching, assessment, as we say, integration of experiences that you have from work or wherever, that's what we're really trying to focus on this year.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the proposal that Cindy and I submitted is in the domain of teaching, so we shall see.
Yep.
So,
a question?
Yes.
Before you go on, Cindy, you mentioned something about teaching and pedagogical.
Mm-hmm.
What was that you said about that?
Well, I said, you know what, we were listing some examples, and Deb and I were trying to identify examples that would fit with the types of activities that we know are going on in our classrooms.
Mm-hmm.
And so the point that I made was publishing articles on pedagogy and, you know, how to teach and best practices and, you know, how to, you know, discovery in the classroom. So, for example, if you're a math teacher and you have developed a new and important and very effective way to reach the students with algebra, you know, that would fall along the domain of teaching.
Okay. I will certainly reserve the right to speak with both of you offline, not particularly today, but next week.
Great. Great.
Certainly. So, we know we have a number of talented faculty at our campus, in our campuses, and they're dedicated to the domain of teaching. Cindy, did you pick up on what all the domains have in common? They all demonstrate rigor. They all must demonstrate creativity and all focus on inquiry. And inquiry is significant, means something that is significant, creative, and it can be documented. However, it is important to remember that balancing our focus on all forms of scholarship is necessary to meet the demands of the information age, as well as the expectation of our students and the larger community.
Deb, I think that you can see now that the Boyer model with its 4 domains of discovery, integration, application, and teaching fits really well with our University of Phoenix ideal. With our original invitation, we sent along our Boyer model personal assessment to introduce the model and to get folks to think about ways that activities that they're currently engaged in might fit within the model. After taking that assessment, what did you discover about some of the activities that you're engaged in? Did you know that some of your activities fit a specific domain? Are there other ways that you can apply the model?
Well, you know, Cindy, I really hadn't thought about my civic activities, and some of the things that I've been doing with curriculum development actually fell under the model until I went to the online class and we started doing a little bit of research. I now know that the university recognizes these types of activities as part of scholarship, research, and innovation, and they're right in line with Boyer. We even have a university website that pulls together many of these resources for us, and it goes into detail about the Boyer model and how all of us can become involved in scholarship. You can access the website from the faculty webpage. And let me quote something from the website. We teach and we engage scholarship in a way that sharpens our teaching. Our vision is to develop a faculty and university culture where scholarship is an activity that is well understood by, of interest to, and used by the faculty of the University of Phoenix. So if you hadn't had a chance to go out and explore this website, please do so because it's just loaded with information.
And I might recommend also, I'll throw this in, there is a 3-day online workshop that I found very helpful, and it was kind of like an aha moment, if you will, when you get done with that as to what the university is really looking forward to, and a lot of good ideas on there. It's a lot of activity.
Yes, Cindy and I took that, and it was very helpful and very engaging.
Yeah.
And we also have discovered that in the faculty forums, if you do a search in there, there's a lot of discussion about scholarship, and a lot of the forums have calls for papers, and so there's a lot of excitement among the faculty for applying the scholarship tenets of Boyer to what they're currently doing. So it's really exciting for us to see that happen. But you know, we have the beautiful website with lots of good information, but we also have university support for scholarship activities. So this is where the school is putting their money where their mouth is. And Liz already spoke earlier today about a couple of $5,000, some folks who have received the $5,000 grants for teaching and learning and research fellowship.
Right, and there's even a $10,000 one, and there's also a fellowship. So there's all sorts of ways that you can, if you want to pursue that, there's the university's behind it.
And you know, I think that's really exciting. There's 4 general programs, and there's 2 programs fostering scholarship. And if you look at the presentation, you can see it in there on the left-hand side. One of them is the Teaching and Learning Research Fellowship, and that's a $10,000 award. Now that one requires obviously a significant application process, and I personally don't know anyone who is engaged in that, but it would really be exciting if someone from our 2 campuses could participate. Then we have the General Grants Program. There's an application to fill out, and it's actually awarded to a number of different types of scholarly endeavors. Then the 2 on the right-hand side, those are programs promoting scholarship, and these are the 2 that probably, for those in our campus and probably Reston, Virginia, these are probably the most accessible. We have the Excellence in Publishing Award. It's an opportunity for a $500 award to recognize faculty who have contributed to peer-reviewed publications. And then there's a Scholarship Honoraria, which is a $200 reward, and that is through a wide variety of venues. I've participated in the $200 award for publishing some articles. To find out more information about these types of scholarship programs, there's an application on the Scholarship Research and Innovation website. Or you can just email me or Debbie, and we'll be more than happy to forward that to you.
So if I have published a couple of articles in the past or in the last couple of years, it's too late to apply?
I think it is time-bound, all right? So there are requirements that it's time-bound. You also need to put that information on your faculty web page, your faculty profile. So would you like me to send you that document, or do you want to go out there and explore the website on your own? It's a PDF that you can download with all the information.
Okay. I can explore. If it's quick, if you have it handy, you can email it to me.
I'll just email it to you, and you can take a look at it.
That'll work. Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So now we know that there's money to be had, and that, as we've heard from Liz, the university is really behind this. So it's just an added incentive. If you don't love doing research just for the joy of research, getting a little additional compensation really helps. So what we tried to do in this presentation is to introduce the Boyer model, and actually through the discussions, I think you can realize that many of us are participating in scholarship under the model. Maybe we just don't realize it, or we don't give ourselves credit for doing it. Maybe that's more it. Or maybe we're just a little reluctant to kind of put our toe in the water and jump into this big pool. But it is not, I'd like you to, it's not as daunting as what you may think it is. I mean, it's, I look at it this way: nothing ventured, nothing gained. And every, when you hear some of the other presenters, if you go to the symposium, I mean, you get a good idea of what people's passion is, and really really gives you such a good feeling about the faculty at the university. Cindy showed us how the university supports the endeavors with the honoraria and grants, and again, we have an opportunity to participate with our sister campus in Reston for the 2nd annual Mid-Atlantic Scholarship Symposium, which is going to be held the week after the commencement, which is on Saturday, June 8th. Now, the proposals were Liz, due February 28th. I think there's going to be an extension, maybe?
As I understand it from our DAA, there's going to be a discussion with the Maryland DAA, because Maryland is also involved, with ours, and with Catherine on Wednesday.
Okay.
So we'll have more information after that.
And we'll be sure to get that out to you. But even so, pulling together the proposal is not, you have plenty of time between when the proposal is due and the actual presentation to, craft and fine-tune your research. So with this, with the invitation, Cindy sent along a copy of the call for papers. And remember, you just have to have your proposal to finish so it can be reviewed by the committee. Right now, the proposals are in the 2 domains of scholarship of integration and scholarship of teaching. And there are 2 tracks in the actual symposium, at the symposium: a proposal presentation, which is a PowerPoint, or a poster session. And instructions for both of those activities are included in the call for papers. Cindy and I participated last year. It was a wonderful experience. The hospitality was fantastic. It was uplifting and eye-opening, let me put it that way.
Right, and we're going to use the same form. Cindy and Debbie, you all probably have the submittal form still from last year. I can send that to you.
If you would, because I sent mine in. There wasn't a transmittal or any form like that. It was just send them to an individual's name.
Right, right. Let me look into that on Tuesday.
Okay.
Okay. But I've asked the people here to use the same, excuse me, the same form that we had last year. Basically, fill out the same information. It's, you know, not that difficult, and you write it up. You write up your proposal based on what's in the call for paper document. So it's the same type of a form, but it's real easy to do.
Super. I appreciate that.
That way the reviewers have the same information across the board.
Okay. Looks like we'll have a little bit extra work to do, Cindy.
All you'll do is cut and paste.
Oh, okay.
Oh, well,
I can do that.
So just to focus back on the presentation, this slide is the path to your symposium proposal. So we wanted to not only tell the group a little bit about the Boyer model and some opportunities that are available, but actually give you some tips and hints on how to make this happen. So what we did is we pulled together this information we think that will help you. Now keep in mind we're also going to have, our plans are to have a scholarship to showcase at the Richmond campus when we move to the new building in the spring. So for those that wish to participate in Ruston, you pretty much have all your work done, because I'm sure we're going to follow some of the same similar guidelines. Think about those types of activities that might be applicable to the scholarship symposium and the Boyer model domains of integration and teaching. Now again, let me just review real quick what integration and teaching domains are. The domain of integration refers to interpreting knowledge across disciplines, and teaching is studying and improving teaching models and practices to achieve optimal learning. To help with your planning, there is a Path to Your Proposal worksheet tab on the Boyer Model assessment file. Here's some questions that you might get you thinking. Define your application as it relates to the Boyer Model. State why the scholarship was conducted and what was the expected results. What procedure did you use to address the problem or issue? What was the outcome or results? What was concluded after the review of the outcome, and how does it relate to teaching or learning? Why do you think that this scholarship activity can be relevant to other faculty members or practitioners?
And we will definitely be getting an updated, if a decision is made to change the date for submission of the proposals, we'll get that out to everybody.
Great. So let's focus just a minute and then allow anybody to make any comments that they want to. Let's talk about the Boyer model, the symposium, scholarship in general, some ideas that you have. We have just a small group on the phone, so I think we all know each other. Does anybody have any questions about or comments about what we learned today?
I'd like your spreadsheets. Those are very good.
Great.
May I have permission to use them?
Of course.
Absolutely.
Those are great.
Of course. Vanessa, did you take an opportunity? Did you have an opportunity to look at the spreadsheet and the little assessment?
Oh yes, I did the assessment.
Okay, great.
And I have it in front of me.
course, there's lots of activities that fall within, you know, the 4 domains. Don't feel like the Excel spreadsheet lists all of the different types of engagements that you can participate in, but it does give a high-level overview of some activities that would fall within the model.
Right. Well, my brain is just ticking away as to if what I'm working on now would be acceptable as a project or proposal, and that would be my offline conversation. But I will make every attempt to submit a proposal.
Well, you know, like I said before the call, we're also looking for you to also participate when we have a little faculty focus at our when we open up the new campus. So can we count on you?
Yes.
And I know we can count on you in your capacity as lead faculty to also encourage others to, you know, who aren't on this call. We're going to have this presentation put out in the Richmond forum, campus forum. So hopefully make it accessible to others, and maybe someone else would like to, you know, jump into the pool.
And I will certainly do that, because the whole process, you know, we identify a scholarship and on such a massive level with the traditional college and university environments, and we need to make it palatable or make it more accessible for us here, since we do have so many practitioners who are in the classrooms and they're so busy doing their other work. But I think the students would benefit greatly from it.
Yes, I would totally agree with that, Vanessa, because I think what perhaps these people don't realize is by doing scholarship in their field or area of interest is going to make them better instructors. It's going to round them out in a way that, you know, they don't see right now.
Yes, absolutely.
And I actually think
I'm one of them.
That's right. I think a lot of the teaching domain is going on, because just talking to some of my colleagues at the school, you know, I hear this, well, this is what I tried in the classroom and it's working great, or, you know, my students aren't reading, so I did this, or I developed this way to do X, Y, Z. So I think it's happening, but because we're practitioners and we're out in the business world, we're out in the community, we don't think of it in terms of academia. We think of it in terms of who we are, our personality.
Yes.
And I think that's where really taking a look at what the university is trying to get us to think about is really, really important. You know, we're kind of focusing on the Boyer model just to give it structure. However, we don't want to scare people away by saying, oh my God, you know, that's for research universities. I can't participate in that thing.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and that's part of the issue that we've run into both last year and this year is that's the major issue is our folks are practitioners. So when you start saying the word research, it's like, what? So we need to work on overcoming that, and I think this is a good way to do it.
That's great, Liz. That's a great comment. So anybody else got anything to say? I see Adrian. Adrian, are you on now? Can you hear us speaking?
I am. I purposely left it muted because I didn't want to jump in before. I think it's good. What I would like to say is I do like your spreadsheet, and it kind of makes you think when you go through and just click a few buttons and say, yeah, I am already doing these things. And I do think, like you just said, that the teaching piece is what we are already doing. And we kind of say from a scholarship perspective, we are already doing these things. And I think just saying research, like you said, kind of scares people a little bit. Then I think from a holistic perspective, we send all these things out from the university overall. But once you get in the classroom, based on your demographic, it does not always work as they think it should. So we do modify it for Richmond. We do modify it for Raleigh. We modify it for where we are based on our students. And that's what we kind of try to tell everybody, you know, go ahead and write it up. And it's we say a best practice sometimes, but maybe it works for our students. If it works here, maybe it may work better overall. And we give some feedback to the university in this way of scholarship and say, yeah, let's try it. And maybe they can modify the practice and say, okay, week 4, week 3, week 2, let's change it up a little bit. So maybe that's one way we can say, going through this process, that's scholarship. It still is, right? So
yeah, I think that's a great point. And you know, thinking about the reactions of students, and students are very vocal about what they believe works in the classroom, whether or not a class is boring, whether or not an instructor makes things exciting in the classroom. And what I have found over the years is those instructors who consistently, students are saying, wow, learned something in this class, or wasn't that fun when we did that activity, that's where discovery, integration, application, and teaching are happening in the classroom.
Right. And so when we get a class that we like best and you say, I want to teach this all the time, you figured out a way to make it better. So you figure out the process. So we can say, well, maybe what are you doing that you like it so much and the students love you? You're always getting good feedback. Write it up. It works.
That's a great point.
So I like it. I like your presentation. And I think
thank
it's
you.
the way
Thank you.
You presented it, yeah.
Well, does anyone else have some thoughts, something burning that you just want to add? Any constructive criticism? Please feel free.
I have adapted years ago the constructive observation. I enjoy. What was that?
I like that better.
Yes, I've always liked that better. It's less harsh, especially talking to some students who, oh, you're always criticizing me. No, I'm observing you and giving you some constructive feedback.
That's right.
No, this was very good. I appreciate your time and effort on a Saturday morning to do this.
And we appreciate you coming online with us.
And I'm encouraged to do it again.
Right. Thanks so much for doing the extra effort, extra mile, as we say.
Well, with that, I think I'm going to stop the recording.